You're listening to Unkillable.
If you didn't kill us last night, we are unkillable.
Hosted by Brandon Tierney.
You know I want Mike Vrabel. I don't think Mike Vrabel wants us. Why would he? Right? I think if the Patriots don't fire Mayo, I'm not close enough to know. I think that Kraft is very tempted to do that. I don't think I don't think he will. I'll go on the record. Based more on extrapolating and piecing things together. I don't know. Full disclosure. I think Mayo gets one more year. The one guy that could tempt that patience would be somebody who won Super Bowls with Kraft and somebody who is in the Ring of Honor. Now, why was Vrabel fired from the Titans? Well, I mean, it got a little stale at the end, but part of the impetus behind his ouster was he really pissed off ownership during a Tennessee Titans bye week when he went to get inducted in the Ring of Honor and sat in Kraft's box. And, okay, you want to tell me it's a little petty on the part of the Titans? I guess I can understand that to an extent. But if I own the Titans and my head coach is sitting wearing a Patriots hoodie in the Patriots box, even knowing what he did with the Patriots, wouldn't sit too well with me. And now if he's winning, I look the other way. If he's not, and maybe he's getting a little too big for his britches around the building, I can see why that might compel me to flex a little bit and move on. All right. So I don't think the Patriots will fire Mayo, which means I still think that he's in play for the Jets, and I think that the Jets really want him. I just don't think he's going to want them. My fear is leverage play. He's going to look for the power stick, which I don't think Woody will concede fully, at least not to persuade him to take it. All right. So now I think you move on to some other options. I think Gruden's going to be in play. I'm okay with that. I want no part of Ron Rivera. I respect the hell out of him. A cancer survivor, like a man's man, a leader, a former player. He's won, but that's just not the move. To me, that feels like a 2015 move, not 2025. That's nothing that excites me. I would rather have Aaron Glenn. I would rather tap into the unknown of Aaron Glenn more so than the averageness of Ron Rivera. That's what Ron is at this point. He's the depreciating asset. He's not getting better. He's getting worse. He's getting less and less appealing as the years go by, where Aaron, at least from a coaching perspective, is ascending. So, and then the other thing, and this is going to be out there until it's not, Rex. Okay. Now, the Rexes, the Jets, he'd love it to be the New York Rexes. He'll make it the New York Rexes if he gets the job, which I don't think he will. I think the only way that Rex Ryan gets the job, because I do think it's quite telling, he has not had an interview yet. All right. Ron Rivera's interviewed. They spoke to Thomas Dimitroff of the Falcons, some other personnel, Robinson, formerly of the Titans, which is why, I'm still holding out hope for a Vrabel Robinson union or a Dimitroff Vrabel union or a Dimitroff Gruden union, something of like that, or even Robinson Gruden, I guess. But Rex to me is the card that Woody Johnson pulls to shut everybody up if everything else fails. Throws you a bone. It is a PR Hail Mary to silence you. And the crazy thing is, I think it's going to actually work for many of you. I don't want Rex Ryan. I love the guy. It's over. Again, I'd rather have Ron Rivera than Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan is not a modern hire. He's just not. Here's a question for everybody. How long has he been in the ESPN studios? I don't know, 7 years, something like that. He's been available for 7 years. He's been espousing on a massive platform, not just digital, linear, you name it, podcast with Ryan Clark. Rex is everywhere, telling everybody that he wants the job. And, he wanted the Dallas job, didn't get a sniff, like he wanted to be the DC. So the way Rex is, I don't begrudge him for selling himself. Hell, if you don't sell yourself, who is? But the fact that he was there for 70% of a decade and nobody seriously came calling, what does it tell you? Now, it doesn't tell you that he couldn't have success. Anything could happen if he was brought in here by the Jets and quarterback issue was resolved and he had, the right OC and the right G. I mean, yeah, there's always a situation where even a subpar coach can succeed, right? Because Rex did succeed the first couple of years, and I believe Rex is a subpar coach. You know why? Because his record tells me that that's precisely what he is. What is he, 61-66? And once the Mangini roster began to wear out through the natural attrition of the NFL, Rex and his GMs, to be fair to Rex, they were not able to put together a winning product for 5 or 6 years? Rex didn't have a winning season, didn't go to the playoffs. Who the hell wants that? Why? Because the first press conference is going to be must watch? I got news for you. I think the people who are shouting for Rex, I'm not saying that there are no Jet fans. I think that Joe would be okay. Beningo would want him and some others. But I think the majority of people clamoring for Rex are people who work in New York or cover the Jets on a national basis that just think it would be fun because it would enhance the coverage of the Jets, but not necessarily make the Jets better. So that's really what I think Rex is. And again, I'm not mad at him for trying to put himself in the middle. He is playing, which is actually a pretty smart tactical move. He's playing to the vulnerability and the desperation of an owner who is lost, who has got zero juice in the court of public opinion. I don't know a single Jets fan who supports Woody Johnson. I don't know one. And again, I want to be clear. I'm separating Woody the person, who I do like, and I met. He's a nice guy. And that's not what this is about. This is about ending Sundays that are over before October. That's what this mission's about. All right? And I think even Dolan at his absolute worst with the Knicks, and I just touched on the Knicks before, there were, and I would take calls on this over the years. Well, Ranger fans had no problem with Dolan for the most part. He kept his nose, kept his beak out of the Rangers' business. Rangers were pretty good. So he wasn't, and most Knick fans are Ranger fans, and most Ranger fans are Knick fans. So there was that, division. I think the closest thing, and again, I'm not saying Ranger fans love Dolan, but they didn't loathe him the way Knick fans certainly did for basically forever until the last couple of years, where you forget about him. I think the Woody thing is more, I think the closest thing, and Mara's lost a lot of support, but it's not even there. I think it's probably more like Wilpon at the end of the Mets run when they lost their money. But that was even different because that was built on frustrations for not spending money. And, once they lost their revenue, a big chunk of their revenue stream to Madoff, I mean, it was factually provable that they just stopped spending. Like many years, the Mets were top 5 in payroll. Then they were like 14th and 17th. And there was a direct correlation to the loss of money. So while Met fans didn't want to hear it, at least there was a financial reason for it. You can't defend Woody on any level. Again, I can make sure that I point out I think he's a decent man. I do. I think he's a decent person. And I always say that he does spend because there are owners who either don't spend or don't care. And he spends, and I think he cares. Now, I can't prove this. I think at this point, Woody is more motivated to be the guy, hey, there's Woody. Oh, Woody, thanks for saving us. Like, I'm not saying that Woody doesn't hurt after losses. He does. But I think it's different than Mara, where football pulsates through his body. And Giants fans, you might be disgusted with Mara, these last X amount of years. And you might question a lot of the things he's done, rightfully so. I don't think anybody questions his desire and his love, his unquestioned passion for his team. I think a lot of people view Woody, all right, born into money, made more money off of the money that he was born into, bought the Jets, and doesn't know what to do with it. Inherited a pretty good roster, And then when everybody that he inherited that was good expired, he hasn't shown that he knows what he's doing. Provable. So the bottom line is, and Evan, I want to pull you in for this. Tell me if you think I'm wrong here, pal. If our beloved Jets are somehow able to pull themselves out of this darkness, it's not going to be because this amazing plan like the Niners with Lynch and Shanahan and this incredibly innovative offensive forward-thinking vision, or the Ravens who are run as well as you can be run, or the Steelers. If it happens to the Jets, it's going to be because they got lucky and they tripped over it, and I'll take it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how it feels. Like, it's like I highly doubt that they're intending on going into this and building a juggernaut like the McVays or like the 49ers, where it's like, hey, we're going to be so innovative that other teams are going to be desperate to get our guys. I don't think that's ever going to be the case. I think it's going to be like, oh, we hired this guy, and then it's like everybody's like kind of indifferent on it, and then it works, and then it's like, oh crap, you guys knew what you were doing. We might have been naive in the first place, but you guys knew what you're doing, and then it's just and then they celebrate off it because they're like, hey, we don't have to win the fans over again because we're winning again. So
I know.